Great. So I think we can start. And anyway, we are recording the session. So if anyone wants the video, we will be sharing it through the social media and sending to the people who has registered. So thank you for joining us and welcome to our fourth co-hosted webinar. So today we are really happy because we're with our friend from Adaptavist and we'll be talking around ITSM. So what's ITSM, which is like a big concept, and we want to put some context on this ITSM solution. So we'll be showing you different ways for you to manage ITSM project and service delivery to make it in a really efficient way. So today's agenda. So first, what is ITSM? So Adaptavist will share with you like a definition of the ITSM, and then they will be giving you some approaches to achieve an efficient ITSM service delivery. Okay, so we'll be talking about Atlassian tool, about ScriptRunner also, and then we will talk around ITSM project and how to track them efficiently, especially thanks to our app Profields. And finally, we'll give you a really short use case on the integration of Profields with ScriptRunner. Obviously, there is a lot of possibilities, but we'll try to make it short for you to understand which kind of added value you could have. And finally, a Q&A at the end of the presentation. We will try to answer all of your questions, but if we cannot, we'll make sure to send you an email right after the presentation. So let me introduce you the speakers of today. So myself, I'm Flora, I'm the head of marketplace sales at DEISER, and I will be with my colleague Fede and Leo, who will be answering your question through the chat, but also during the Q&A. And finally, Phil and Richard will be here, so from the Adaptavist team. Great, so a few rules before giving the mic to Phil and Richard. So you're all on mute, as most of the webinar, to avoid any weird moments. But if you want to share your feedback, your question, you can use the chat box. Okay, we'll try to answer your question during the presentation. So obviously you can share whatever you want. Again, this session is recorded. If you cannot stay until the end, we will be sending it to you. And finally, if we don't have time to answer all of your questions, don't worry, because we'll be reaching you right after the presentation. Great, so it's time for you, Phil and Richard, to explain us a bit more about ITSM and how to approach it efficiently.
Thanks, Laura. Hopefully everybody can hear me if somebody gives me that. So myself and Rich are going to talk you through. What are we going to talk you through? Well, we're going to talk about IT service management for the enterprise, and we're not talking about Star Trek here. What we're actually talking about is how you deliver IT in the enterprise. So what is IT in the enterprise? What do we actually mean? Well, many of you are familiar with going into the top-notch hotels where they have concierges who greet you and make sure that you have everything that you desire whilst you're there. It can be food, it could be laundry, it could be luggage, it could be taxis, flowers, entrance to that show, or just little known nuggets and local gems that you can actually get to. But why do they have concierges? Well, basically what they're trying to do is make sure that you have an excellent experience which generates repeat business. And now I'll hand over to Rich, who'll talk a little bit more about what does this mean for us today.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Phil. So first, let's have a look at the definition of ITSM, or Information System Service Management. As we can see, this definition looks at bringing the experiences from IT to other parts of the business. Lots of different parts of any business provide a service, but are they used to working in frameworks driven by service or organizational level agreements, performance metrics, efficiency, and most importantly of all, end user satisfaction? So we're going to focus on 3 key areas where a service management implementation can help any business. The first of which is the increase in efficiency this can bring. Secondly, reducing the impact of business events. And thirdly, the reduction of wastage. So if we drill down a little bit further into increasing efficiency, there are many aspects we can look at to increase efficiency within an organization. These can include making sure scarce resources are protected and able to deliver the maximum value. Those of you that have read the Project Phoenix book will be familiar with the character Brent and how his overloaded engagement severely impacted the ability of Parts Unlimited to operate. For those of you who have not read Phoenix Project, I would highly recommend that you do and follow it up with Project Unicorn. Many organizations struggle to ensure that they deliver the highest priority items first, often due to the simple challenge of being unable to identify what is the correct priority order. How many of us have come across a situation where everything is the highest priority? This can be supported by having clear business processes and insightful reports that help organizations identify bottlenecks, overload, as well as underload. When these things are addressed, we expect the efficiency to be represented by either time or money savings. But equally, you might swap in other important business drivers, such as quality of service. I'll now pass back to Phil to discuss how service management can reduce some of the pain points.
Thanks, Rich. So let's now look at a business event. And let's face it, it's obvious to organizations that business events come in all shapes and sizes. And we've had the global pandemic with COVID and the impact that that's had on organizations. For many organizations responding to COVID, it was a massive paradigm shift in how they operate. They had to move from an office-based environment to a working from home-based environment. While some organizations already had a level of remote working, this shift was not anticipated 100%, and it had definitely not been planned for many organizations. What we have seen is that organizations that had the most success early on were the ones who could be characterized as being used to change and handling that change in a controlled way. But let's look at some of the more business as usual events that can occur and how having a service management tool can help you in that respect. You will have major incidents. It's a part of life, it's what's going to happen. But alongside being able to manage those major incidents, you want to be able to recover and bring back your solution, whether it's an IT solution or what that service is. You need to be able to come back and recover from it. You'll also have a process whereby you will regularly schedule the equipment servicing and make sure that you have that regularly done. And besides that, you've got a process which is looking out for things that are going wrong before they truly cause a problem. But all of these together should reduce your downtime and the amount of time that you're impacted by a major any incident. But they're not the only things about what happens with the business event. You also need to be considering how you have continual service improvements to make sure that in the future you can cater for these incidents in a bigger and better way. That's looking at it from the reducing impact of a business event. Now let's have a look at wastage. Everybody often focuses on wastage, but what do we mean when we talk about removing wastage? We're talking about making things quicker, easier. They're all ways to improve. We're all familiar with the bargains in our local supermarket, but have you looked at your spending pattern within your organization? Do you purchase across multiple suppliers, or do you go to a small subset of suppliers? Don't forget to include the time it takes to identify the best combination. Use the 80-20 rule. Spend 20% of the time to get 80% of the benefit. Always look at it in that respect. You don't want to get the 100% solution, but spend tons of time on it. We want to make sure that we optimize that spending and make sure we spend it with the right suppliers in the right way. But it's not just about spend. We also need to make sure that the assets that we have are being used effectively. We don't have stock sitting on a shelf. We don't have members of staff waiting for the next task to land for them to action. And the final angle we'll look at here is, how do you manage change? Change happens, but if it's uncontrolled change, that can be very disruptive. And it manifests itself in many ways. Lack of clarity of process, rework of completed actions, misunderstandings, and of course, all the other business impacts that fall out of making a change and delivering differently. And I'll hand you back now to Rich, who'll talk to a few case studies.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Phil. So I guess we're all familiar with an internal IT service desk, but let's just quickly remind ourselves of what some of the key aspects of that might be. This is, of course, a grossly simplified model. So here we've got a person that has an issue. Now they could contact the help desk by using the telephone to reach out. Equally, they might use an online service. They might need an engineer to get involved to help fix this problem. Maybe a replacement laptop needs to be found and allocated. But the management system will track all of these actions. And in doing so, make sure that they are done in a timely manner, whilst providing reports to help judge performance over time and give the key metrics. Next, let's have a look a bit deeper under the covers of service management into the 4 dimensions that need to be aligned. First, we have the organization and the people. And here a focus on the culture is essential for success. Next, we look at value streams and processes with a focus of the practices of service management. Of course, not forgetting information and technology, but here we're not just talking about tooling, but technology aligned to the operating model. And last, we talk about partners and suppliers. We must understand all the connections involved in adding the value of a service management solution. So these 4 dimensions must in fact be viewed holistically, beyond the realms of a traditional IT perspective or technology, to include the broader service ecosystem. By focusing on all the activity involved in delivering products and services in the end-to-end service value stream, we get direct alignment to the most important deliverable, value. I now pass back to Phil to talk around some different ways people start this journey with Atlassian tooling.
Thanks, Rich. So I'm going to use a different analogy here. We're going to look at a car, and you can buy a car off a production line. Very straightforward, but some people want to race them, and so they do a lot of customization. But you can take customization to an nth degree and build a Formula One car. So how does that apply in the Atlassian space? Well, let's start by removing our production level car. And here we get the replacement, which is Jira Service Management. What used to be Jira Service Desk, and I have to get in the habit of remembering the new name, Status Page, Ops Genie, and Help. But then if you want to customize it, you reach out to the marketplace. And there you'll find ScriptRunner, you'll find Profields, and various other apps from various partners. But if you want to really go to the extremes, you have the Atlassian partners who can help you in that respect. So remember, there's always a way out of the problem. Just because you can solve a problem doesn't necessarily mean that you should forever be building that from scratch. And so it's important for us to actually think about the tooling that we have. And now Rich is going to talk you through how ScriptRunner can be one essential tool within your toolbox.
Thank you very much, Phil. So the ScriptRunner family is a common aim of saving organizations time by automating tasks, reducing the complexity of the user interface and aligning it to specific requirements, and by extending the capabilities provided by Atlassian core functionality. Let's have a little bit look a bit deeper into the ScriptRunner family next. So sorry, Phil, go ahead.
Go for it. So when we look at ScriptRunner for Jira, many of you have already looked at other automations in Jira Service Management and are probably aware that they come with limits on the number of executions. Well, ScriptRunner for Jira removes that limit straight away. Another common problem that can be solved with ScriptRunner for Jira is having your current problem list and knowing which incidents and which are linked to those current problems, and more importantly, the recently closed problems. Sometimes the applications just don't do what you need. If you need to connect to a legacy system, you may need a custom API to enable that to happen. And that can be both one that consumes or one that publishes. And the last example I'm going to talk about here with ScriptRunner for Jira is being able to automatically create tickets following a major incident to track the review actions. That links nicely into what you can do with ScriptRunner for Confluence, where you can have a script that collates the major incident report, pulling the details from Jira upon that action being triggered in Jira. Another example, which is a really common one which is used, many of you will be familiar with Status Page and the messages that go on Status Page, but did you know you can also do a conditional banner that reports open problems in Confluence, pulling that information from Jira? Again, it's used with ScriptRunner for Confluence.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Phil. So we've seen when we're talking about ScriptRunner for Jira and Confluence, the capabilities there, but let's talk about the coverage as well. These apps are available for the on-premise server as well as data center installs, along with a rapidly maturing version for Atlassian Cloud. In addition, we also have ScriptRunner for Bitbucket and for Bamboo, for those of you that have development teams using these tools. This can be especially valuable when Jira becomes a central platform and provides capabilities to easily realize DevOps alignment, as both the developers and the operations team are using the same shared service. And of course, Project Configurator supports the promotion of code from staging to production, supporting DevOps processes by treating your tool configuration as code. So we've given you a very high-level introduction to ITSM and some of the aspects of what should be considered in any service management solution. We've also discussed ways in which partners can help with solutions beyond the core tooling provided by Atlassian. At this point, it's worth noting that as fantastic as the ScriptRunner family is on its own, it provides even deeper integration and features when paired with other compatible marketplace products. This brings our part of the presentation to a close. We'll now hand you over to hear from Flora at DEISER about how to track your ITSM projects efficiently.
Great. So I was thanking you, Richard and Phil, for the presentation. And I'm going to start sharing my screen now. And so I think you can see it. So this is my agenda. It's going to be short. I just want to remind which aspect I'm going to talk about. So first, I'm going to introduce you Profields and its contribution to service management, and then the difficulty you may have as a service manager to do some really good and efficient ITSM project tracking. Finally, I will provide you a live demo on how to track ITSM project, and we'll see in some of the benefits of the use cases. As I told you before, we'll be also talking about the integration of Profields with ScriptRunner using a really small use case, a really specific use case among plenty of them. Great, so what is Profields? Well, Profields is an app available for Jira, available in cloud, data center, and server. I must say that not all the features I'm going to show you are available in the cloud version yet. However, the team is working really hard to make sure you can have access to those features as soon as possible. So you're going to get access to a poll at the end of my presentation where I'm going to ask you which of the features I've shown you today should be released in the cloud version. So pay attention because it will be short, but we need your feedback on that. Great. And if I had to sum up what is Profields, well, I would say that it's an app that helps you to classify, categorize, and get a better overview on your Jira project. Great. So it is a fact that over the last 10 years, Jira became one of the most powerful issue tracker product of the market. So Jira is ideal for any team to get every relevant information in a unique place. But if you think about it, this added value is always and only from the issue level. So even if Atlassian has started to develop some tools such as Team Central, that is still a beta version, which is mainly focusing on project and helping you to get you a better overview of your project. Still, Jira is focusing on issue. So that's when we've started to wonder how to go further than this issue level and provide you some answer from a higher perspective, okay, where you could track, you could classify and categorize Jira project data. So finally, Profields is an app that helps you to understand a bit better what's going on into Jira. Okay, so what's Profields' contribution to service management? Well, before starting, I would like to give an example of an ITSM implementation which can be done in Jira to provide customer services. Well, this basic implementation will be based on several portals, okay? And for each portal, a Jira project and a customer. So finally, there will be one portal for a customer. So why would you implement it that way? Well, for several reasons, but you could think that thanks to this implementation, you could have different SLA, for example, or you could have different support team also managing your client. Then regarding the support team themselves, well, those guys, they will use project queues in Jira, okay? Meaning that one project will have several queues, even if they can collect the data in one dashboard, they would still use queues in a project. And finally, the service manager, who is in charge of delivering good quality services to customer and make sure of the SLAs among plenty of KPIs. Well, they could use Jira, but more specifically Profields to track data and get really good insight around services customer delivery. So that would be one example of implementation, and that's the one we're going to use during the live demo. So what are your main pain points today as a service manager when you want to do some ITSM project tracking? Well, first of all, the information is not centralized. You will need to control and monitor your customer contract, for example, out of Jira. The support, they don't have access to contract data, such as the expiration date, the client priority, the localization, like all the information that are really relevant to provide a high and good support services. So finally, the team management, if you think about it, is really time consuming. Okay, so during the use case I'm going to show you, I want to give you some example for you to save time and improve your day-to-day as a service manager. So what we're going to do now is we're going to enter in Jira. So in this Jira, we've already configured and installed Profields, which is here. So what I'm going to show you, it's more about how to track project. Okay, I'm not going to show you how to start from scratch with Profields. So the first step will be to enter in the project navigator, which is like an issue navigator, but for project. And we're going to look in the category for the ITSM project, okay, that we have already categorized thanks to the Jira category. Perfect. So here you can see one project is a customer service and one customer service is a customer. So that could be a service like a support or anything that you could provide to one of your customers. Remember the implementation I told you? Well, that would be the use case here. So what's great is as a service manager, I can see all my portfolio of ITSM project in one screen. Great. So once I've got that, I would like to show exactly the added value of Profields for the service management. Let's enter in one project and find the layout, which is like a Jira schema, but for issues. And in that case, that will be like a layout for project where you could predefine some custom field created thanks to Profields. Those custom fields, obviously, they're related to service management. And in that case, we could change the status, for example, and assign a new agent. We could define a country, like France, and we could even write a comment if we want to. In the second container, we will put some information around the contract, like, okay, I received the contract of 1,000 hours of support, and it will be starting today up to May. Great. And on the last container, I would like to add some data around the agreements. Let's say my proposal is in Confluence. Well, I could easily add my URL here, so everyone can get access to my Confluence data directly from Jira, and I could define some business contact, technical contact. And as my team is supporting Atlassian tool, well, I could say that this customer is using Jira, Bitbucket, and Opgeni, for example. And they've signed for this SLA, which is really important, as I said before, to follow this specific KPI. And if I refresh the page, well, I can see some automatic fields here, such as the total remaining estimate, which is a calculated field, where I could see easily which time left on this specific contract. But I can see also this expired field, which is automatic because, as you can see, it's false because obviously my contract is still active. Well, that's great. That's a first step to get more data on a project level. But what if I want to see all those information, but across all my portfolio? Well, let's go back to the project navigator. We're going to look again for the ITSM project. There. But this time, let's say I want to improve my view, okay? I want to see more information. I don't care about all of them. They are useless for this specific tracking I want to do. And I'm going to add some custom field, okay, related to service management. So I could add, for example, the status of my contract. I could add the main contact, so the person I should reach in case the contract is expired. I could add the SLA, supported product. And I could add also the size, so I know exactly how many hours my contract is ongoing. Okay, so for example, like I can see really quickly now that I've got one contract which is sold out. So first, my team shouldn't be working on this contract, and plus I should definitely reach my client to advise that, okay, maybe you want to renew your contract because it's is expired. I can also see some information like I should have someone working during the weekend with some Confluence skills. So all those information are easily achievable thanks to this view. So then I'm going to save this filter so I don't have to do the search again and again. So let's name it my ITSM project, and I'm going to save it. Great. So I will be able to look back at it in the future really easily. Great. So once I've done that, I'm wondering now what's happening when there is any change on my issue, like what the impact from my point of view as a service manager. So let's have an example. Let's say my client is having any issue with his Jira. He's gonna raise a ticket that he needs, help on my Jira. Okay. Multitasking should be easier for me normally, but it's not. Great. So now that I've created a ticket, let's say that one of my agents is coming in, okay, and he's gonna obviously provide some help to my customer. So he's done all the job. He's now logging some hours. So we are on the issue level, okay. This is like native Jira. I log sometimes, and I say, okay, the issue is done. I've done my job. 100 hours is way too much. I'm closing the issue. Great. So what's happening now? If I go back to my project and I refresh the layout, because there is some calculated field here, I should be able to see now the remaining estimates. So there has been like 100 hours work on this contract, but still the customer have 900 hours left on this contract. So that would be like one way of seeing it. Again, I want to see it across all my portfolio. Well, really easy. I go back to my filter, the ITSM filter. It's here. And now I could add more custom field. And I say, okay, I want to see the remaining time across all my contracts. So what's happening here? Well, for example, I could decide to hire a new member just because I see like there is a lot of ongoing contracts. Okay, so I could take like a business decision based on real data coming from Jira. So I think you've understood that you could track information directly from your project across all your project thanks to the project navigator. But there is also a third way of looking at your project, which is the reporting part, okay? Like the gadget part that we've added to the existing dashboard of Jira, where basically you can find, if we enter in this ITSM, so it's a dashboard we have prepared for the use case, obviously, this workshop. And basically, you can easily add a new gadget. So let's check for Profields gadget. So here you can see all our gadgets. Again, this is available for data center and server. So gadget is one of the features we could release in cloud. So if you think that could be relevant, do not hesitate to share your feedback. Great. So as we're doing some time tracking, we're going to pick this one, the project timesheet report. And now we're going to easily configure it. So first, we're going to select the filter. You remember the filter I've created? Well, here it is. I'm going to say that the original estimate should be the support pack size. And I want to see the original estimate minus time spent to see exactly where is my team at the moment and what are the contract left. Finally, I will pick the hours as time unit, and that's pretty much it. So that's it. I've got like some real-time reporting on my customer contracts. So here I can see I still have 8,300 hours left. I only have like 4 agents working, so maybe I should hire someone new. I could see also, thanks to those gadgets, that Alvaro is working much more than his colleagues. So maybe I should assign a new project to Carlos, Daniel, or Guillermo. I can see also that regarding the SLA, I've got some ongoing contract during the weekend and at night, where I should have someone knowing about Confluence, Fisheye, and Jenny. So that's like all the insight you can get from the gadget. You can also see that if you're providing some local language, local support, well, you should definitely have someone talking Spanish, French, or German, etc., etc. So those gadgets, they are you can use them as a macro in Confluence, but you can also export them if you need to. Okay. So finally, let's pretend I need to hire someone. So I found the perfect candidate, and I'm gonna add her. So her name is Laura, and I want to add her across my portfolio of ITSM projects. To do so really easily, I'm going to use the bulk operation, which is a feature that helps you to save time by updating massively your project. So here you could assign new role, you could delete project, or you could update any of the project field that you would have created thanks to Profields. So in that case, I want to add Laura and say that she's now a new service desk team member. So you click on next, you wait a few seconds. So obviously here we only have 5, but imagine you have like 100 projects. That would be much more relevant and help you to save a lot of time. So here it is. I've just added Laura as an agent across all my portfolio. So that was pretty much it. I'm just going to show you the last feature that could be helpful when you want to track project and make sure you're aware of all the news and update on your projects. So it is the alert notification that you can receive. Okay, so let's say I want to receive some notification around my project, ITSM project. Well, I'm going to create this notification, and I decide to highlight only updated values from the last email. Okay, so I don't receive so many information. So every Monday at 9 a.m., I want to receive notification. So that's it. Now I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, to fill out the poll. So I guess it should appear on your screen, where you can tell us which feature you would like to see in cloud. Great. So thank you for giving us the feedback. Perfect. Thank you very much. I see you're answering. Okay, so bulk operation and gadget is great. So Leo, who is our head of product, will take this really carefully, because we really need feedback to build the roadmap. So thank you very much. Great. So now it's just a few moments to sum up like what we've seen. So thanks to Jira and Profields, you will be able now to gain control in your team management, to know exactly what is your team capacity. If you need to hire someone, if you need to reach a customer, you won't provide support to anyone who doesn't have an ongoing contract. So you improve the internal transparency, you reduce the endless meeting, and we know how much we're all suffering from the meeting in this online environment. And finally, you won't miss any project updates. So that will help you to take control on your support services. So finally, the real-time reporting. So not only with the gadget I've showed, but also thanks to the integration we've got with other apps of the marketplace. So such as EasyBI or custom charts. So actually we've done other webinar with EasyBI and AllStreet around reporting. So do not hesitate to check them if you want to see exactly how you could get better reporting on project level thanks to the integration. And obviously, talking about integration, I will now be talking around the integration of Profields with ScriptRunner. So the first thing I'm going to mention here is that obviously ScriptRunner possibilities are unlimited. Okay, so we've decided to show you one of the examples where you could actually display some project data on the issue level. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly what could be the benefit of it. And just so you know, we are talking about integration, but it's more about like ScriptRunner ability to use our Profield data through the API. Okay, so how does it work? Well, as I told you here, like the example I'm going to show you is through script field. We're going to show you, like, which is one of the features of ScriptRunner. We're going to show you how you can display project field data directly on an issue. So let's go back to Jira. And I'm going to go to one of my projects. Okay, so you remember the custom field I've shown you before? Well, we're going to focus now on the expiration date. So you remember, like, there is one project, one customer. And let's say, like, I want the expiration date appear on my issue. So one of my problem, which is make sure my support team knows about the agreement I've got with my customer. Well, he could see it directly from the issue. So we're going to pretend the contract is expired. So I'm going to put date prior to today. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to one of, so I'm going to show you first how it looks like in ScriptRunner. So if I enter in ScriptRunner here, I'm going to focus on the script field. So the script field is already done, luckily for me. So I'm just going to edit it and show you how it looks like. So two important information here. So this field, script field, is using Profield data first. And then you can see here the field that is used. Okay, so the support pack expiration date. Okay, so here you can see the ID. Where to find the ID in Profield? Well, really easy. Let's go back here. We enter in Profield and we check the field view. I'm going to look for the statute that I care about. And here it is. So here you can see the ID 33, which is the ID I'm going to add in my script. Okay. Great. So I'm not going to give any more details around the script, just so you know it's using Profield data and more specifically the field I've mentioned before. So how does it look like in an issue? Well, you remember the ticket I've created earlier. If I update it, now I could be able to see the warning. Okay, so just because I've asked a script field like to advise me whenever like there is a date which is expired. Well, now my agent, when he will enter in this issue, he will see that the contract is expired. So he should reach the client, which the salesperson, which the manager, like what he wants, whatever he wants to do, but at least he's aware of this situation. So if I go back to the project, now I'm going to put a date later than today, June. That's perfect. Shiny outside. We're all happy. And we go back to the issue. Here it is. Now you can see that the window disappeared. There is no, like the warning message disappeared. So that was it. Again, as you can imagine, there is a lot of example here regarding this integration. So if we go back to ScriptRunner, here is like all the feature we can get. So imagine all the possibility you can have to improve your project tracking and managing. Great. So I'm done. So again, it's just the use case. It's an integration via the API, and that can be really relevant for anyone who wants to improve his project tracking. So I'm done. I think now it's time for the Q&A. So any feedback, any question, I will give the mic to Richard, Phil, and my fellow Fede and Leo. Thank you very much for attending and for listening to us also. Great. So let's see if there is any question here. So Andy is asking so even if we've replied to your question, I want some answer so everyone can be aware. So I think it's for you guys, Phil and Richard. So one of your slides mentioned the customized UI. Is there any option to do it in the cloud version?
Yeah, I'll pick this one up and answer this one. So at the moment, there are very limited options around customizing the UI. However, Atlassian are releasing more and more functionality as part of what they call Forge, which gives you greater flexibility, or rather gives us as partners greater flexibility in order to help you customize your UI going forward. So yes, it can be done. It's not mature. You're going to see more in the future is the quick answer. Certainly we're taking advantage of that in ScriptRunner, and I'll hand over to somebody from DEISER to say what they're doing.
Perfect. So Fede and Leo, there is one question from Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Is there any API for Profields that allow to download values in JSON formats?
Well, yes, as I already answered that question, yes, we do have. Profields provides with a REST API, with which you can fetch any kind of information that you need from Profields. And, the format that you get that information, you can arrange that as you please. So, yes, that's the answer. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, Fede. Then there is one question from Andrew again. With the demise of Jira Server, we'll probably move to Jira Data Center. Will Profields and ScriptRunner require any migration update? By that, I mean, will all our fields be present when they will be migrating? Or will our script require any updating? So you can answer first, Phil, and maybe Fede after.
Sorry, I just muted myself for that reason. Yeah. So if you upgrade, everything that you have in functionality goes with you. The only thing that you just got to be careful of is where you're actually calling your scripts from, whether they're stored on a shared files location or whether they are in the interface. So just making sure you deploy correctly for the number of nodes that you're on. But yes, all the functionality goes across with you, and you have the new data center app, which is fully compatible with multiple node settings available for you in the marketplace.
Well, and for Profields, almost the same. The thing is that when you migrate Jira, all the information that you're migrating with the database will go with it. Will go with you to data center. So that information will be with you. The only thing that you'll need is to install Profields that it's available already in data center. So you can install it and use it as you please. So that's it.
Perfect. And I think, so there is two more questions. So one from Michaela. Hi, Michaela. So she's asking if there is any experience in using Profields as an addition to Jira to use it as a CRM system.
Well, at the moment, as I told her, as I answered, we don't have a use case as such for Profields with and Jira as a CRM system. But we need to investigate, and we'll get in contact with her in order to elaborate a little bit more on that, because we will need a little bit of information in order to provide a better answer on that use case. So thank you, Michaela, for that question.
Perfect. So I've got one other question for you, Phil and Richard. It's regarding Jira Service Management, like what's coming next. Do you have any insights around that?
Oh, I'll let Richard pick this one up, and then I'll say the things he's forgotten.
Perfect. Well, I think it's quite exciting if you follow the trajectory Atlassian have taken with the tools, with Jira Service Desk coming out a number of years ago, after they polled the marketplace and saw that people were building this functionality into Jira itself. And the evolution we've seen of Jira Service Management, obviously Ops Genies now are part of that as a more integrated solution. We know that Help is coming with integration with Slack and Teams. Insight is being rolled in. So we're watching this trajectory of great interest as more and more functionality gets added to JSM to make it a more complete solution out of the box, but still, as always, extendable with great apps like DEISER's Profield and Adaptavist and ScriptRunner.
Great, perfect. And one last question from Girish. What if the customer has multiple contracts? Like an 8 hours for 5 days support and professional services. So for you, Phil, on there.
Yes, thank you very much, Flora. And thank you very much, Girish. Probably a project by contract would be a really good idea, as I said before, you know, or maybe replicating the fields for each contract, you know, plus using Profields layout sections in order to organize each contract in the project. Many contracts in the same layout page in order to organize them, you know, divided by sections. I hope that I answered your question too. Thank you very much.
Perfect. So I think, I don't know if there is more question or more feedback. I think, Richard, you wanted to share something? Doing some promotion here.
Phil, do you want to talk about this for just a second?
I don't know if...
Yep. Okay, so many of you know that last year Adaptavist ran a State of the Atlassian Ecosystem report, survey followed up by a report. Once again this year we're doing the same, and the survey is open till tomorrow. So now's your chance to go and fill in the survey. And if somebody asks me a nice question, I will put that URL into the answer for people to be able to share. One of four $250 Amazon gift cards are up for grabs. We look forward to anybody's response. It gives you the opportunity to feedback what you think is happening, what your key business drivers are. And I can tell you from being heavily involved with it last year in the report, it is very much read and understood by the folks in Atlassian, as well as the folks in Adaptavist and the other marketplace partners. So if you want to see last year's, drop us a note and we'll even send you a copy of a link to last year's report. Thanks very much. And thanks everybody for taking the time to be with us today. So I'll hand you back to Flora to close.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. I don't know if you can just share the link on the chat directly, because the people cannot click on the PPT just. Yeah, perfect. Great. So I think that's pretty much it. So as I told you, we're going to share the webinar. So we are going to do some more webinars. I think the next time will be with AppFire, now that they've got around 2,000 apps. So AppFire, we're also talking to AppFox. There are a lot of vendors really interested to share their knowledge and promote their apps also. So what we're trying to do here is making you some views on all the possibility on the marketplace, and was really glad to see today Adaptavist, as we know how powerful they are, the apps. So thank you very much to Phil and Richard. That was really cool. We're going to be sharing the content to the social media. And if you guys want to see any apps here promoted thanks to Profield, just let us know who we should invite for the next co-hosted webinar. So thank you again for your time. And you can add me on LinkedIn if you want to know more around the Profield, and reach directly Phil and Richard if you want to know more about the Adaptavist apps. So thank you again and have a great day. Bye-bye, everyone.